Oh, hi, good evening. I'm Maura, and welcome to Maura's Epic 10-minute variety show. It's not really a variety show yet because I haven't worked out the equipment. I'm going to explain to you what I'm talking about. It's been an incredible day, like a lot of ups and downs, some really exciting stuff, and some difficult stuff too. And so I wasn't going to get dressed up because I thought, well, that's probably getting really old. But I'm actually wearing this dress because two reasons. One, it came in the mail today, 40 bucks. That was it. And the other reason I'm wearing it is because I'm celebrating something really wonderful that happened today. And I'll tell you about it because it's kind of wrapped up with the painful. So I think I'll get a chair, if you don't mind, so I can tell you what's happening. I hope you're doing well. This is, I'm not counting the days of this quarantine, but it's been, for us anyway, I think about 4 weeks. So some of you may know that my husband has cancer. I've told a lot of people, and I asked him if it would be okay if I talked about it, and he said it would. So, um, and that's part of the painful good news and painful for some other reasons, but he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer last February, prostate cancer, and on Valentine's Day. And we had, of course, arranged to go out to dinner that night, and we didn't know what the news was going to be. So we said, should we keep the reservation? And he said yes. So anyway, we went out to dinner that night, and it was really, really painful and sweet. And I didn't know what was ahead. How can you until you're going through it? And so the cancer was like in his spine, of course, the pelvis and the prostate, and that's what makes it, of course, stage 4 because it's you know left its point of origin. And he did go through chemo, and it was absolutely terrible. I mean, there's nothing about chemotherapy. I guess I've heard anecdotal stories of people that had chemo and did okay, but it was really awful. And that ended around September, I'd say. And there's something that it's called a PSA. I think it's called prostate specific antigen, and they measure that to see how you're doing after all the way through. And right after chemo, it went really low, which was good news. And then right away went high or up in the wrong direction. And the oncologist said the chemo didn't work, and that was terrible news. That was in October, and then in December, he had to have radiation because he was in so much pain in his hip, and that helped a lot. But in January, they did a scan and cancer in his lungs. So the kind of general thought from the oncologist here and also in Houston, because we went to MD Anderson, was that this wasn't going to go well for him. He was not going to stay with us. And so in a way, it was like great news because I didn't think oncology was going to work. And he's been on a vegan diet and following protocols that are not only anecdotal, but also, there are medical doctors who repurpose drugs, and not indiscriminately. These are drugs that have had their own trials and results, and the research about them is incredible, and it does not exist in the standard of care world. So we've been on this protocol, and today he got his PSA result, and it is 0. Like it really could not be any better. So that is great. But along the way with helping him and understanding what's happening is I've joined a couple of Facebook groups for mostly people, of course, who have cancer. And it's so terrible. I didn't know there were so many kinds of cancers. I can't even begin to name them. And, within each cancer, there seems to be several subsets, and people, they're, you know, reading books, trying to help each other, and it is so inspiring. And I'm trying to do whatever I can as someone who's supporting someone And so that's why it's bittersweet, because we have this great news today. And but it is a day of time, right? Almost more than anything else we've ever gone through. But celebrating today, which is why I decided to put this dress on, get dressed up anyway. As I mentioned at the top of this little show, I bought this dress for $40. And actually, obviously it's really cheap, but so since we have been in the fashion show mode, it's kind of I guess kind of a mermaid. I don't know if you can see it. It's so dark in here. I'm gonna have to start doing this at 7 o'clock, or I don't know what, or I buy some lighting. Would that help? Because this is going to be an event up in this studio. If you listen to me ramble on this morning, I was in my pajamas, but oh, what the heck. So I have really two looks, pajamas and this. So I have, I hate to bore you if you already heard all about this, but I have this, come on over here, camera, this digital piano. It's its own recording studio. It has incredible features. And I figured out that I can have live performance on this show by calling somebody on my phone, and with the Bluetooth, the sound of them playing in their living room or wherever they are will come through the speakers of this thing. And it's like a concert hall. It's incredible. So I've ordered, I had to get I'm learning all this stuff, a mixer and a microphone, because if I don't have the microphone, I can't talk. You know what I mean? Anyway, auto microphone and mixer in a couple days. And then I got to figure out how to do all this. But then if you want to be on my show, oh my God, we're just going to do it. So every night, can you believe I'm saying this? For 10, it's again, Maura's epic 10-minute variety show. So it's going to be, something profoundly epic for 10 minutes every night. And I don't know how long it'll go. The dresses are going to run out eventually. But at $40, and as I keep saying, I'm willing to loan. This is really more of a costume. But if you can fit into this and you want it, it's going to look great on some. It's not my color at all, but I don't know. I just thought I'd get it. So that's a story about what you have to look forward to. I also want to mention that I don't know if it was yesterday, the day before, last night, or right before, I mentioned that I am going to have a show where I teach you how to make toast. Well, and ever since I said that, my Facebook messages and wall have been just lighting up, because everyone is dying to learn how to make toast. So I think, and I don't want to get you too excited, but I think tomorrow morning I'm going to do my toast demonstration. It won't be in here, it'll be in my kitchen. So, and I'll be in my pajamas. I have several pair. So that is that. And then, and if you remember, I mentioned that it is April Poetry Month, and I was going to read a poem every night. So that's, if nothing else, if I have no other material and can't get it together, I'm going to sit here at 8 o'clock and read you a poem. And the poem that I'm going to read you tonight is by Mary Oliver, and I'm sure most of you have heard of her. She died recently. This fantastic poetess who writes so cleanly and so clearly and so evocatively and so simply. I guess, the only other poet I can really, I don't know a lot about poetry. I don't read much poetry, but more than I used to, and it's really thanks to Mary Oliver. So if you haven't been introduced to her before, you're going to be introduced to her right now. And the poem that most people know, if they know her at all, is Wild Geese. I'm not reading Wild Geese tonight, although I have to tell you, Wild Geese really inspired me. I'm not going to strip. I did that the first night, that's it. But I do have a tattoo of Wild Geese. And it's partly because of her poem, and also partly, or perhaps even more so, because I wrote a play called Wild Geese. But she inspired me the whole way, and we once exchanged a letter, which I'll tell you about another time, because what I really want to do is read you this poem. So when I had this play, Wild Geese, about 4 women who navigate the 1980s sort of the social workplace sexual revolution. I mean, the revolution wasn't in the 80s or was before, of course, but not every woman signed up for this. I can remember being a secretary. I don't even think we have secretaries anymore. And then suddenly they gave me this computer. And am I allowed to swear on this? I don't know. I'll try it. I was nude and I'm still on, so that didn't, you know, maybe I can say one swear word. So I'm working as a secretary, and then suddenly there's these computers, and the guy was saying, look, it's just like a filing cabinet. It's just like you open a filing cabinet, and there's the files, and I'm saying, there's no filing cabinet. It's a fucking blue screen. What are you talking about? So in my play, that and everything else, all women had to go through, you know, with our vocations and our sense of our self and our bodies and sexuality, and all of it was really, I think, unfolding in a pretty profound way. I drank through the 80s, by the way. So I was really, really out of it. And I think I needed to be. It was really too much. All right. So I'm going to read you this poem by Mary Oliver. I don't want to go over my 10-minute limit. And it's called The Journey. You're going to love this. One day, you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, although the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voice behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life that you could save. And that is Mary Oliver's Journey. So happy to share that with you, and happy to end on that beautiful note, because I know we're all on a journey, several journeys, in fact, and being able to like quiet the storm inside you and listen is not easy. And I think if there is a silver lining to this quarantine that we're all going through, it might be that you'll hear your own voice more clearly than you have heard it before. I hope that for you and for us. So anyway, that's it for tonight. Tune in tomorrow night if you feel like it. I'll probably have on another dress, and we'll be one day closer to the equipment that I need to actually have talent on this show. I mean, you know, let's face it. So I realize now, and I'll shut up, that you know, I'm, you know, a playwright, and I was a businesswoman and a mother, but all I really ever wanted to be was an impresario. So now I can, or I will, as soon as we get this piano thing going. So thank you again for coming. Love you all. And I'm going to somehow gracefully end this live video, but first I'm going to do what I like to do, which is give you a kiss. And then I got to go do this. Okay.